Going on, everybody? Welcome back to Daniel Bailey TV. I am here with Lee Judges. Lee, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you, Daniel. How's things with you? Okay.
Yeah, not too bad, mate. Not too bad. It's actually, I was just thinking about it off air then, and I was thinking actually having it feels like a long time in between games for the Arsenal now because we only have one game a week, and I was thinking it's this season, especially the latter part, feels a little bit, it feels like we've got a lot more time to do other things in between Arsenal games.
Yeah, 100%. I think was it another 10 days between this game and the last? It just seems quite a while ago, didn't it? So enjoying sort of winning games of football like as we are on a good run, and then we don't sort of play for a couple of weeks. So getting used to it, Daniel. Getting used to it, So
Definitely. And I know you were just saying off air that you're going to the game. Are you confident, Lee? Are you confident going into this game?
Yeah, I'm confident, but you never know with Arsenal at the moment. I feel that we're gradually turning the tide, as they say, But I still feel I'm always panicky with Arsenal at this moment in time because just as you get overconfident, not overconfident, but confident that they're going to do well, we go along comes a performance against Everton, and then a performance against Nottingham Forest. But I think this game on Sunday is massive. I can't emphasise how much it is. Arsenal have to win this game. I was actually talking to my mate at work today, Paul, who's a West Ham fan, and I like to get perspective from other fans and all that. And he basically said, you've got to win this game. If you're going to get top four, you have to win this game. And I agree with that. I think that we're going to have to win this game. I think anything other than a win will put us in a difficult position going forward. So that just shows you how big it is.
Yeah, and especially when you look at the games after that,
Exactly.
I know people say you shouldn't look too far ahead and that we should only focus on the games that are, we should only focus on the game, one game at a time. But when you look at the games we've got after that, Leicester, Liverpool, and then Villa, those are not going to be easy games. So if we can get maximum points against Watford, which I think we're quite capable of doing, if we can get maximum points against them, then I think we've got to keep pace with the teams and, teams in and around us. And when you look at the way the season's going, Lee, the teams in and around us, they're faltering, they're dropping points. And you kind of look at this and think, this is an opportunity for Arsenal to really capitalize on it. We've got 3 games in hand over the rest of them. So I look on it and think we can't waste this opportunity.
Totally agree. Got to take advantage of it while we can. Listen, this is I'll tell you why this is a key weekend. Liverpool playing West Ham, Manchester United playing Manchester City. So, we've really got to look at those two teams probably might drop points. I'm not saying that they're going to, but the likelihood is that they will. And then, if we could actually go into the top 4 with games in hand. Now, it's all very well saying, oh yeah, if we win our games in hand, we can get into the top 4. It's if we actually are in the top 4 with games in hand, that will put us in a much, much better position going forward, Daniel. Being in 4th with games in hand. So, that's the key now. I think that's very, very important to us that we get ourselves, at this moment, even we're still looking at, if we win our games in hand, we can be this and we can be that. Games in hand is no guarantee. But if you can get into the top 4 by winning games, by buying in that position, I think if we win at Watford, we could actually be going into the weekend in the top 4. That at this stage of the season, that's massive, mate. It really is. So I can't emphasise how big this game is, and it's not going to be easy, by the way. Watford's not an easy place to go to, but if you're going to get top 4 and challenge and everything is on the right path as what we're sort of looking like we are, we need to get these 3 points.
Yeah. No, you're right, Lee. We do definitely need these 3 points. And I've been saying for quite some time that actually from now until the end of the season is going to be so massive, because the direction of Arsenal Football Club is going to be decided on this run of games. And actually, we talk about for ages, and I've spoke about it for ages, being that Arsenal used to always buckle under pressure. We always used to get ourselves into good positions, and then we used to fall away because we always buckle under pressure. I want to see a real sign from this team of not buckling under pressure, because this is when it matters. When something's on the line, as big as it is top four. And I know a lot of people will say, well, actually trophies is bigger, but where we are right now as a club, this couldn't be any bigger, for where we are right now. So if we can not buckle under pressure, and I think this team looks a little bit stronger. I do think that I think that it'll be a test of metal for this team, won't it, Lee, to see how far they have progressed.
Yeah, I do. I think that you're dead right. What you're saying there. I think that we have buckled in the past, but so it's important that we show a different mentality. Now, everybody keeps saying about how Arsenal's mentality has changed, this and that. Well, talk is cheap, isn't it? You've got to go and prove it. And going away now, when you're expected to win games, I think there's always a bit of pressure when you're expected to win games, Daniel. If you're playing teams that you're not expected to win, then it takes a little bit of pressure off. But this is one of those, like, for instance, the last, we expected to beat Wolves at home. We expected to beat Brentford at home. We've done that. We was expected to beat Burnley at home. We didn't do that. So I think with all the games going on there, away from home, we've got Aston Villa coming up. I wouldn't say that's a give me, you're expected to win that away game. But this one is. This is when you've got a team that's in the bottom three, struggling for their lives. Watford are a difficult opponent, but they're in the bottom three for a reason. So I think the expectation brings pressure, and it's to see how they handle it. I think why I feel that Arsenal are in a better position this season to get these sort of results, because I think defensively we're a lot more sound. We're a little bit better defensively. I quite like what I'm seeing from the defensive side of our game. To be honest, even through the bad times of Arsenal this season, whatever, defensively we've looked good. We've looked okay. So I think that, there is certain amounts of pressure on us to get this result, and mentality is part of that. And I think that what they've got to go out there and prove it, Daniel. It's no good talking about it all the time. Arsenal have got to, get on a run of 5, 6, 7 games. And these games that we're playing at the moment, if you are going to get top four or challenge for titles, if you're going to be challenging for time, I'm not saying that we're challenging for title, but you know what I mean. These are the games that you've got, if Liverpool going to Watford, you expect them to win. I know they lost their last season, but you expect them to win. You'd expect Manchester City to win the games that we're winning at the moment. Chelsea. So these games, I expect us to get results. And would I be surprised if we lost tomorrow? No, I wouldn't be, because of what we've been like in the past. But I think we've got to stop dwelling in the past now. Look at what's in front of us and look at the team as a whole. I think there are improvements, particularly defensively, and I'm expecting Arsenal to go there and win this game. I really am. I don't know if it'll be easy, but I do expect us to win it.
No, I don't think it'll be easy. I think the Wolves game recently proved that it's not going to be easy.
No, 100%.
I've sort of said as well, Lee, and I've said it quite a lot of times watching Arsenal over the last 3 games, the 2 games against Wolves and Brentford. I said, you know what, I wouldn't be surprised. Look, we're not going to see vintage Arsenal between now and the end of the season, but if we can just grind out results, the home game against Wolves being a case in point, where for large periods of that game, it wasn't looking like we were going to get anything from that game. But then, the last sort of 8 to 10 minutes, it changed. And I sort of come out of that game thinking, if we had drawn that game, or lost that game, we would have been highlighting the performance. The fact that we won it, I think, kind of overlooked a little bit of the performance. And there's still a lot, when you look at the performance, there's still a lot that we could improve on to make that less difficult. Because I felt at times in that Wolves game, we made that a little bit more difficult. You know, when you look at individual performances, you know, how many shots did Lacazette have in that game? And you know, it took him right till the 95th minute to put one away. You know, it's little things like that, little margins that I feel like that we need to, between now and the end of the season, we need to get right.
Yeah, I agree. I felt the performance wasn't as bad as what I actually thought on the day. I have to say, I didn't think we was going to break them down. If I'll be honest, it didn't look like we was going to, but we did, and we got the result. So I fear. I don't know if you thinking the same, but like when he was going the way it was going, you thought, oh yeah, this is it. Typical Arsenal, going to drop points against a team they shouldn't be. But ultimately, they didn't. So I think that you've got to look at the pluses of that game more than the negatives. We got the result in the end. We got the job done. But it wasn't convincing, was it? I know what you're saying. You haven't walked away from that game thinking, right, we're convinced that we're going to go on and beat Watford. You're going to go on and beat Villa, Aston Villa, and then you're going to go on and beat obviously Leicester before that. And you know, there's still ifs and maybes, isn't there, in the performance? But ultimately, you just got to believe in this team now. And I felt that on that game we opened up Wolves more than I actually thought we did. So we've just got to take our chance tomorrow. That's a key thing, is that when we get one of those chances, Daniel, we've got to take it, and we've got to take it early, like, you know.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We've got to take those chances. You know, because a lot of people, Lee, are looking at, you know, the games that we've got ahead. A lot of people are looking at that Liverpool one, going, "Well, that's going to be a tough game." And actually, I'm not. This sounds really weird. I'm not concerned about Liverpool, because you know what you're getting with Liverpool. The game that's really that I can see causing us problems is that game away at Villa. I look at that game, and actually, that I think, look, Liverpool, they're a class act, they're levels above. But if there's a game that we're going to slip up in, it's going to be that Villa game, because they've got some decent players, and actually they could cause us some real problems.
Well, 100%. I think that, hold on a minute, lost you. I'm sorry about that. Just I've got some sort of bleeding power cuts going on here. But can you hear me all right, Daniel?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah. It just went out for a second. Sorry. I think that you're right. I think that Villa is a difficult game. I look at all of Arsenal's away games, you know, potential banana skins. If you look at, we've got West Ham, difficult game, Tottenham, Chelsea, Crystal Palace is not going to be easy. Newcastle certainly not going to be easy. Southampton. Got some real tough away games. What you got to do in there is defend well, and when you get chances, take them. And I think that Villa is in that category as well. So some real tough games coming up.
Yeah.
You know, listen, Villa. I'm not even worried about Villa at this moment in time, because we've got 3 games before that where we've got to get, I think, definitely 6 points, and that's, you know, beating Watford, beating Leicester, and then going into that game against Liverpool, where pressure's on us, but it's also pressure on them as well. You know, they can't afford to slip up with what's going on at Man City. So that, in fact, Daniel, could play into our hands a little bit, where they've got to come at us a little bit more, open the game up. I fear when we struggle is when teams put banks of 4 or 5 up against us and say break us down, and I don't see us looking like doing that. I felt we struggled against Wolves. Certainly struggled against Burnley, and in parts in that first half against Brentford. But ultimately, we got the job done, you know. So it'd be interesting how Roy Hodgson sets up Watford tomorrow. If he goes defensive against us, and we have to find a way of breaking them down. I think, if I'll be honest, we're going to have to be patient. The fans are going to have to be patient now to the end of the season. I think there's going to be lots of these games, and Villa's going to be the same, because I think they'll keep it tight, but they've got players, as you quite rightly said, that can exploit us on the break, and that will be a very, very tough game.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you think, because Watford, actually, when you look at our recent results at Watford, we don't actually have a great record at Vicarage Road. I remember the last couple of times we've gone there, and it's been a bit difficult. Do you think it's going to be difficult again? I mean, when I say difficult, do you think that actually we should have enough to go there and win, or do you think? I mean, obviously Watford now, they've got no Truadini anymore. He used to be a big bear of ours, and I look at, it's not just the team, but the fans as well make it really hostile at Watford.
Yeah,
they're fighting to stay up.
Great atmosphere at Watford, always has been. Listen, I remember going there with Thierry Henry scoring a goal, and we only just scraped a 1-0 win, when we was really in our prom. Listen, no game's easy, Daniel, and going to these smaller, compact grounds and all that, like with these atmospheres, is tough. What do you have to do when you go to these games? Defend well. The reason we've struggled probably at Watford and other grounds in that, because we've not defended well in the past. So it's important that we defend well. We played Wolves last game out away from home, defending really, really well, and that was, the springboard for us to go and get the result. So I feel that even against Wolves, we defended pretty well against them. Give away a soppy goal. We can't afford to give away no cheap goals and things like that. Make us hard to beat. And I think that's what we have been. And if you're going to be successful away from home, I think that's why we've always struggled away from home for the last few years, because we've not been hard to beat. But I think now we're starting slightly to become that team where you've got to find it hard to break us down. Wolves huffed and puffed against us at Molineux, couldn't break us down. So I like that, even if I'll be honest, when we played Manchester City for 20, 25 minutes with 10 men, they found it difficult to break us down. Now, right, they got through in the end, but it took a last-minute goal. So I do think that defensively we're a lot better, and I think that will help us going into these games. And listen, I don't think you can turn around and go to the game against Watford and think, right, we're going to stroll this. I don't know about you, but I don't think that we're going to stroll any game at this moment in time, whether it be home or away. Yeah. I'll be honest. I thought we'd have a difficult game against Brentford. I thought we'll have a difficult game against Wolves. We exactly got that, and I think we'll have a difficult game on Sunday. Listen, if you said to me now we're going to win it 1-0, I'll take it. Simple as that.
Yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'd take 1-0 wins all season. If
all season now, I would as well. So I'm on that camp now. The performances do matter. I'm going to say that, but ultimately results more. So if you're going to get the performance, I think that's something that we've done a little bit. Do you know when if Arsenal play bad, they lose. If they play well, they might lose. You know what I mean? But now I see us not playing as well as probably we could do, and still grinding out results. And I think that's important. And I think that tomorrow we're going to have to grind out a result, Daniel. Simple as that. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever.
Yeah. And if we do grind out 1-0 wins, then fourth place is definitely ours. I mean,
exactly.
Dare I say it, Lee? Possibly even third place with if the way Chelsea, are stumbling at the moment, and then they've got a lot of off-field issues. So they could get dragged into the fight as well for fourth place. It just depends. Look, no one knows what's going to happen, but obviously you can see that it's clearly affected them off the pitch with what's going on and stuff. So you can't discount them being, the teams catching them neither.
No, and you know what, Daniel? That's great what you're saying there. I think that you've got to be pushing for third. It's no good saying, "Oh yeah, right, we'll get into fourth and we're happy." If we get into fourth on Sunday, let's see if we can chase Chelsea down. See if we can get something, against them. I think if we win our games in hand, we'll be 2 points behind them. So I'm not saying that we should be looking at that, but that's got to be the goal. Try and hunt them down. I think I think that they're one game in front of us at the moment. And I think they've got 5 points, haven't they? So if we were to win, say like I don't know who Chelsea got. I don't even know who they got today. Or just shows you like let's have a look, see who they got. I think they're away to Burnley, so they should get the 3 points. So, but say if they don't today, then you're going to go right. Listen, Burnley will make it hard for Chelsea, without a shadow of a doubt. So we could actually be in with a chance of pushing. Look, if we can get a result on Sunday, whatever happens with Chelsea, we're putting pressure on Chelsea, and that's all you can do. And then if they do lose one game, then we can go above it. And then when we play them at Stamford Bridge, it ain't okay, right, we're here and whatever. Like they know if we actually were to beat them, we could overtake them. That's a good pressure to have, Daniel. So I'm with you on that. Like let's try and aim for third. Why not? Because if you aim for third, you get fourth, you'd be all right with it, wouldn't you? But if you're aiming for fourth and then get fifth, that ain't good. So try and aim as high as we can. The other the other two are unrealistic, but Chelsea's not unrealistic. Not at this moment in time, it's not.
No, I don't think they are. And I want to ask you, Lee, because this is the burning question, right? If we don't get fourth and we miss out for whatever reason, do you think that should be the end of Arteta? Do you think that actually there's more than just the direction of the club riding on us finishing fourth?
I'm going to be honest with you. It's how it ends. I think if we give it a gallant effort and Man United nick it by a point, I probably would, or a couple of points, I probably could accept that because Man United should be looking, higher than us with the players that they've got and all that. But if we was to lose out to a West Ham or Tottenham, I think it's a failure. I really do. I think that we've got an opportunity to get to top four, and I just think it's how it goes. The way it's going at the moment, you can't really say, well, Arteta has failed if it doesn't happen. But listen, I think that it's a difficult scenario with this at the moment, and if we were to carry on as we're going, then I think that you'd probably go, look, give him another go. But he's under immense pressure then, Daniel. You know what I mean? I think you just got to see what happens at the end of the season, see how it goes. When people go, I don't really like answering that question at this moment in time about Arteta. The only thing that we can do at this moment in time is just back the team, see how he goes, and see where it takes us. And then at the end of the season, if we were fourth or fifth, say fifth or sixth, and we're behind Spurs and behind West Ham and teams like that, then I think everybody has got their right to say, no, it's not working under this guy. But if he was to get fourth or just miss out by a point, everybody, I think then you're going to and circumstances on that as well, Daniel. You know what I mean? Like if you see, like some of the horrendous refereeing decisions, if one of them was to cost us, are you going to blame Arteta for that? So I think it's just see where it goes. If we carry on going as we're going, I think, and playing like we are, we're going to get top four anyway. So, and then the issue's not there. So let's see what happens at the end of the season.
Yeah. Before we move on, I just want to remind everybody in the chat to hit the like button and subscribe if you are new to the channel. The other question I want to ask you, Lee, and this is, I've got to be honest, I'm slightly worrying about this because he's one of our young stars. What happens to Bukayo Saka? Because obviously there's a lot of whispers going on about him supposedly stalling on the contract, saying he wants to wait till the end of the season. I mean, we've heard all this before, with Sanchez, with Van Persie. Do you think it's a case of now the club needs to meet Saka's expectations, or do you think that he will end up signing and it'll all have just been for nothing, this worry?
I wouldn't worry about it this moment in time. I think that there's no real rush at this moment in time, whether he signs it now or at the end of the season. I think that Arsenal will listen. Mikel Arteta has come up with some fantastic comments. If you read them, like saying what he's going to do in the summer, we're going to be getting we're signing quality players in the summer. time for us to move up and all that. Like the one thing that Saka's got on his mind, on his side is time. I think that he knows that he's got a little bit of time. Everything at this moment in time, if he was to leave and go, say if he was to go to Liverpool or say Man City and all that, his game time wouldn't be as guaranteed as much as it is at Arsenal, even though I think he's fantastic. So I think that's something that you've got to look into. So for me, I think that it's going to be a stage, not now, where he's going to question the ambition of Arsenal unless Arsenal continue to go on the upward spiral. I think that I don't think there's anything to worry about at this moment in time. I think that he'll probably sign, but contracts mean nothing, don't they? Really, Daniel. If you look at it, he could sign a 4-year contract and could be off at the end of the season. All it does is cover us for a big transfer fee. And with whether he's in a year or 2 years of his contract, if Arsenal are not doing what we expect them to be doing, then he's got every right to say, "All right, this isn't for me," and you wouldn't blame him. But at this moment in time, I think that if you was, or if I was Saka, I'd be saying, "Look, I'm enjoying my football. I'm playing every week. I'm becoming a better player." And things do look like they're on the up at Arsenal. You have to say that. So for me, I wouldn't be too worried about it at this moment in time.
No, and that's I think that this getting this top 4 is going to be a massive key. It's going to be look, between now and the end of the season is going to be so crucial for a lot of things. I want to look at a little bit more ahead to tomorrow. Obviously, the lineup pretty much picks itself, bar Tomiyasu. But what would you do with that front three, Lee? Because the suggestions that Pepe could come back in. Would you bring Pepe in and maybe rest a Saka or rest a Martinelli, or what would you be thinking in terms of the front three? Because Arteta's got a real headache now.
He has got a headache.
Scoring the goal.
He's got a massive headache, but you can't turn around and say Saka and Martinelli, I'm resting you. They've just had 10 days off. So you can't be saying that. You know what I mean? Like you're either playing them or you're dropping them. There's none of this rest thing because, if you look at it, Daniel, you haven't had a game for 10 days. You play on Sunday, then you've got another week off. So why would you be needed to be rested? Maybe like when you've got 3 games in a week, you can look to do that, but not at the moment. You've got to be honest and upfront and say to them, right, well, I'm leaving you out.
You could probably make a case for Saka because the volume of games he's been playing this season.
Yeah, but not in the last month or so, Daniel. When he's had like a 10-day break here, 10-day break before that, he's off to Dubai and all that. Like, I get it. Like 4 or 5 games down left, further down the line when you say like you're playing Leicester, Liverpool, Aston Villa, I can see them maybe a little bit of rotation, but not at this moment in time. For me, I don't think that Saka and Martinelli deserve to be left out because they weren't that great against Wolves. I take that as a compliment. Wolves played really, really well. Now, the other side of it is, Daniel, is that the couple of games before that, Lacazette was not brilliant, but he kept his place. So if I was Martinelli, I'd say, hold on a minute, I've had one mediocre game, or poor game, if you want to say, and I'm being left out. I wouldn't be very happy about that. So for me, as well as Pepe done, he's got to be patient and carry on doing what he's doing. Saka and Martinelli play for me, and alongside Lacazette and Smith Rowe has been not getting back into the team, and you're telling me that he's not come on as a substitute and done well. So as well as Pepe's done, for me, like you've got to continue to keep doing what you're doing on the bench and then go from there. For me, Martinelli and Saka deserve to start. They've been sensational for us over the last few weeks, So, and I'm not buying into this resting thing, that's a cop out, they've had enough rest over the last 3 weeks. They've played 2 games in 3 weeks, Daniel. That's enough rest. End of.
Fair enough. I don't know. I think for me, I'd like to see Smith Rowe come back in But then you can't really leave out Odegaard. I guess the fact that you can't really choose between the front players in terms of you could probably make a case for maybe taking out Lacazette and maybe putting Pepe in. I don't know, like Lacazette, as good as he is he going to get us the goals? But then it's a headache, Lee. It's a headache.
It's a great headache to have, and it's a gamble. You know what I mean? Like, but at this moment in time, Daniel, and what I would say to anybody saying that, we're winning games of football. So when you're winning games of football, do you really need to change it? Like, I know what you're saying, but ultimately, it's working. We're getting results. We scored 2 goals in our last 2 games. If we score another 2 goals against Watford on Sunday, that should be enough to see us get something from the game. I don't, if we don't, then it's a poor defensive performance. But I don't see us conceding too many goals. So I don't think it's time to change it at this moment in time. You could say, I get what you're saying, you can freshen it up, but like really freshen it up when it don't need to be, because I love this term now, resting players and all that, like, basically being dropped. Why don't you come along and say it, like, and at the end of it, Daniel, it's not like we're playing every week and we're in one competition. We just got, as I say, we play on Sunday and then we ain't got a game for a week, so no. You can get all the rest you need, all the recovery time in there. I look at teams like West Ham at the moment, so I see they played Wolves last week. Antonio coming off with about 3 minutes to go, run himself into the ground, and then he's back out there again at Southampton trying to do the same again. Not the case for Arsenal. Arsenal have had a nice rest, so I don't see that.
Yeah. And again, the fact that we've had a nice rest, that will play into our advantage, because the teams around us as well, they're playing games left, right, and centre, and it's just made for us, isn't it, this season? It is. Do you think? Do you think? Because obviously, are you worried about the fact that Tomiyasu looks like he's going to be out for a bit longer? I think that from what's being said that he's done his other calf now. I think he had initial calf problem and then come back and then done his other calf. Do you think Cedric is enough at right back? He's played very well, Cedric. I think he's played fantastic, but he's not. Tomiyasu offers you something different, doesn't he, than Cedric?
Yeah, listen, Tomiyasu, a fit Tomiyasu plays, doesn't he? It's as simple as that, but I don't think we've got to rush him back at this moment in time. 2 weeks or 3 games ago, I would have said, I've got to rush him back. But I watched Cedric play against Nottingham Forest. Wolves played really, really well that night. When they brought it on against us, he defended really, really well. He's then backed that up with 2 home performances against Brentford and Wolves again. So I think that at this moment in time, I wouldn't be really too worried about. This is what you need. Some like Cedric, Daniel, has stepped up to the plate. He needed to come in and play well, and he's done that. And we've not missed Tomiyasu in these 3 games, so that's a compliment to Cedric more than anything else. But obviously, the quicker and the better Tommy's fit, the better it is for us, because I want Tomiyasu when we go away to Tottenham, away to Chelsea, and away to West Ham, those sort of games, with him being available. So while we've got games that we can get away with him not playing, then we do it. So the good thing what Cedric is doing is meaning that we're not having to rush Tommy back into the team and then getting injured again. So I think he's back in training now. So we just don't rush him, Daniel. Simple as that.
Yeah, definitely. Lee, I want to get your score prediction for tomorrow.
I am going for Watford 0, Arsenal 2. But I wouldn't be surprised if it's 1-0, 2-1 or something like that. I don't think it'll be easy, but I think that maybe we'll nick another goal later on. So it'd be 1-0 hanging on, and then we'll get another goal. That's how I see it. I think it's going to be a tough game, though.
Yeah. Do you think goal scorers?
Oh, Let's back the strikers, Lacazette and Martinelli.
Yeah. I'd like to see, and I was thinking about this the other day when I was just after I was doing a review for the Wolves game. I was actually sat there thinking, and as good as Martinelli's been, it reminds me of a Smith Rowe. Like Smith Rowe a couple of seasons ago, where great build-up play, absolutely fantastic. But if he can just add goals to his
Yeah, he
game,
needs to add goals.
yeah, he needs to add goals to his game. Like Smith Rowe, I'd say, looking at Smith Rowe, like he's probably this season our most improved player because he's adding goals to his game. Now,
Yeah.
I think if Martinelli can do the same, I think we'll have an absolute cracker on our hands of a player.
Yeah. Couldn't agree more. I think he does have to add a few more goals to his game, and that's why I want him to score. Like more for that reason, because I think it'd be not just good for him, but it'd be good for the team as well.
Yeah, I'm going to stick my neck out on the line here, Lee, and say
that
I think Martinelli could easily be a 20 to 25 goal a season player if he's managed and coached properly.
Yeah, couldn't disagree with you at all. There, I think he's got pace. He's got everything. He's got everything, and he's still young. You know what I mean? And he can finish, but he's going to miss a few. But I'm with you. I think he's got all the attributes to be a top goal scorer. Listen, pace. That's something that you can't teach. You can't. You've either got it or you ain't, and he's got it. So like that'd be the one for me. Like I think that he has got that potential to be that. In a couple of years' time, he seems to be getting a bit bigger and stronger. I like the way he moves the ball and gets in areas, in tight places, and he's confident on the ball. But he's learning all the time, Daniel. And I think that he's nowhere near the finished article yet. But as you say, I think with like Saka as well. I think Saka needs to improve his goal ratio, which he started to do over the last sort of 5-6 months. And Martinelli's got to do the same.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I want to get your thoughts on this, Lee, slightly away from the Watford game. And I know this has been a hot topic of conversation, especially last week. I want to get your thoughts on Arsenal increasing ticket prices, because this is a bone of contention for Arsenal fans quite recent. We always say that we've got the most expensive tickets. What are your thoughts on this? At a time where, we've just come out of a pandemic where people are struggling. Do you think this is ill-timed?
I think it's ill-timed. I think it was always going to happen. I don't think that we've had an increase for 7 years. Is it now 5, 6, 7 years? I don't think it's necessary at this moment in time to do it. I know, like they've got probably like because of the financial year, they have to do it and all that. But ultimately, we're paying still top prices at Arsenal with no world-class players. That's a fact. We've got potential world-class players, but there's other clubs spending a lot less money than us and have world-class players at their football clubs. We've not got one world-class football player at our football club at this moment in time. Potentially, we've got a few, but we're paying over the odds for what sort of team you're seeing. We've not got a world-class coaching setup. We've not got a world-class team. We've got what we've got is potential, and we're paying top money for potential. So I feel it's ill-timed. Is it necessary? Well, they're going to say that it is, but I would rather say if anybody like come out and said, well, we think it's necessary, then I'll turn around and say, well, why haven't you sold? It's necessary that you sold Eddie, instead of letting him go for free, or Lacazette going for free, or Ramsey going for free. So the club's made mistakes, and unfortunately, the fans have to pay for it one way or the other, and that's how I see it. I feel it's ill-timed, but I think it was always going to happen, Daniel.
Yeah, I agree with you. Do you know the thing that worries me about this is that after the Super League fiasco, the club were so keen on getting fan involvement and engaging with fans, and this ticket, this ticket price was raised at the last board meeting, and nearly everybody on that meeting had a list of reasons why this shouldn't happen. Why, from being ill-timed to the fact that it's got to coincide with the team, progressing. And they took that on board and just disregarded it. So my thing is not necessarily the ticket price. Listen, it is what it is. My issue is, what's the purpose of this advisory board if you're not going to listen to fans and take feedback, and you're just going to ignore the feedback that is given? I'm looking at that as a bigger issue than them raising the ticket prices.
Great point. Listen, Daniel, you're kidding yourself if you think they worry about the fans. You're kidding yourself.
Oh, listen, I know they don't, but I just think it's a massive own goal to say, after the Super League fiasco, to say, listen, we're going to listen to the fan. We want to engage with fans. I get the feeling, and I've done 2 of these board meetings, and I get the feeling it's just all lip service, Lee. I've got to be honest. I left the second board meeting. I think when did we have it? It was beginning of February. I left the second meeting, and I was like, do you know what? I feel like I've sat there for 3 hours and I've not made a difference. Do you know what I mean? That no one's making a difference.
Yeah.
And it is like that. And it's little things like that. They come up with some, they come up with some absolute bullshit excuse, Lee, why the meetings couldn't be done in person. The first one, they had it in person. They practically rolled out the red carpet. They were like, yeah, you can come, we can do it in the boardroom. Now it's I feel like that they've done their bit, and now it's something that they're not really interested in engaging with it properly. And they come out with so many excuses, from, oh, well, we can only have certain people in the boardroom. And then a day after our meeting, they had all the press back at London Colney in the press office with people at the club. So it was sort of a little bit like the fans are being fobbed off again, especially the people on the board.
Yeah, I agree with you. Like, you know more than me about these meetings because you go to them, Daniel. So you get that vibe, didn't you? We don't. So if you're getting that vibe, that tells you all you need to know, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's just it's madly. It honestly is. It's mad. Yeah, someone's saying here that you made a great point the other day on one of your streams about if they'd got fees in for players, they wouldn't need to increase ticket prices. Yeah, I think you just mentioned that just a minute ago. But I think it's ill timely. I think
yeah, I do.
I think actually there's going to be a lot of people, and they've got to be careful as well, Lee. Because there's going to be a lot of people that are going to go, do you know what? I don't see the point in going to the Arsenal anymore. And I see that now, Lee, at the Emirates. I do, for all the atmosphere and for everybody saying it's good, I do hear whisperings of people going, I could be doing other things. Do you know what I mean? I could be going to other places. I could be going to see other things and spending my money on other things. And it's totally there agree. In the background. It's there, isn't it? It's there in the background. It's
totally agree. Like, I think what's happened is when the pandemic was about, people were doing different. You weren't going football, so you're doing different things. Nowadays, there's lots of other things that you feel like you're missing out on, and also, Daniel, when you're as you alluded to earlier on, that when you're not like Arsenal used to be like nearly most of the season 3 games a week, 1 game in the midweek, but now you haven't got that midweek game. People turn around and say, oh, have you missed that? I haven't really missed that, because you're right. You can do other things. You can do other things that you want to do. And all of a sudden, Arsenal ain't the be end and end all in your life. It's still very, very important. Of course it is. But ultimately, there's other things to do. And I don't care what anybody says. to go to the Arsenal, sometimes you're at least £70 a ticket, £40 for the smaller games. Well, now let's just be honest. When you play a game against a Burnley or a Brentford, and you're paying like a little bit cheaper prices for tickets, what you're seeing is not great football, because you see one team just defending and the other team not breaking them down, and it's not been entertaining, blasting great football. And then when you've got the Man Cities and Liverpools and Chelsea's come to town, they're beating us easy. So it's a difficult situation. And then you look at it and think, right, okay, to get to the ground's not cheap, is it? By train or by car or whatever, and then
Not
you get
not for me. It ain't. It's like
no,
70 quid at home.
exactly. There's the ones that travel up and down the country, long, things like that. So it's not a cheap day out. It's not a cheap day out. And if you're not getting value for money, Daniel, you're going to turn around and go, do you know what? I'm not going to go.
Yeah. And I made this point on the board as well. I actually said to Vinay, because he was reading out his little spreadsheet, and I was like, do you know what? You should raise ticket prices when when Arsenal are competing for the top trophies. When we're challenging for league titles, then we can have a discussion about ticket prices. Until then, it's just going to be a massive error of judgment.
If they're not in the top four, how dare them put the price up? Should be putting them down.
Yeah,
that's what they should be doing. You know what I mean? Not because it's a foul. So less games to go for. Listen, eventually, Daniel, they'll price people out of it. People will get fed up with it. Like you only pay it for a certain amount of time. And if you're paying top money and you're coming eighth and seventh and sixth and all that, then you're gonna turn around and go, do you know what? I've had enough of this. And who would blame anybody for that? I wouldn't blame anybody for that.
No, I wouldn't, Lee, to be honest. Look, I guess it's a case of we'll just have to wait and see. Listen, This season is massive. The end of this season. Lee, I want to get your thoughts on this, slightly away from Arsenal, but I want to get your thoughts on Abramovich selling Chelsea. Do you think that was inevitable given the circumstances? And do you think that actually it could open it up for teams like Arsenal to be more competitive, where if he sells Chelsea, they're probably not going to be as competitive. They won't have the money behind them.
Yeah, I think that with Chelsea, I think that, listen, Abramovich is a one-off, wasn't he? He wasn't worried about, if you have a look at every other team, the investment is to get some sort of gain out of it. But he was prepared to just put his money in and not get it back. And, from that point of view, Chelsea have been successful. Do I think that he was going to have to sell it? Yeah, I think he was either going to have to sell it or lose it. It's as simple as that. I think that Ozanov has been given sanctions against him now, and it's only a matter of time before it happens to Abramovich, really. Listen, whatever way you think about it, perhaps I'm not saying it as a football fan, he should never probably been given the opportunity to run Chelsea when you look at all what things that are going on and everything But he did. He got them there. I think if Chelsea's sold, I don't think anybody will come in and chuck money in like he has without getting it returned. So I think that Chelsea in the long term will drop down into the pack a little bit more and be like one of the normal clubs. I think that they've got 3 or 4 players that are coming to the end of their contracts now, so they won't be able to let these players go on free contracts like they've done in the past, because it's not their care. They're going to have to go into some sort of business model. So if they do want a player or whatever, they just don't. The owner's going to just chuck his money in. So I think it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens with Chelsea and see where it goes. I do think that the Chelsea that you see now won't be the Chelsea in the future. I do believe that. I don't think that it's sustainable.
Yeah. Do you think they'll end up selling a lot of their top players? Or having to sell a lot of their top players?
Well, they might, somewhere along the line, they're not going to have Abramovich bailing them out, are they? So at the end of the day, if they're I don't know, say if they're making a £10 million loss, he's not going to stick that money in, so they're going to have to cut their cloth accordingly. They've not been doing that over the last 19 years, Daniel. They've been doing what they like. But, they're going to have to change it a little bit now, and see what happens. And if you're putting in £3 billion for the club, let's be honest, if you're going to put in $3 billion, you can't keep spending all that sort of money, Daniel. So, and not get a return, unless you're someone like unless they get somebody else like a Abramovich come in. There's not that many people about like that, are there? So I don't think that Chelsea were going to go right back down and relegated and things like that, what people are talking about. But there's certainly not going to be the same sort of power Chelsea have had in the past. For instance, Chelsea are not going to be able to in the future buy a Tino Werner for 60 million. That's not going to work. And then the next season go and buy a Lukaku for 97. They're not going to be able to do that. They're going to have to come back into the real world of football. And that gives everybody a chance, doesn't it? Unfortunately for the likes of Arsenal, Newcastle are going to come into the equation now and probably take over from Chelsea. So it won't really matter too much.
Do you know what? I was just going to make that point. I was just going to say Chelsea will drop away and then we'll have Newcastle to take their place.
Exactly. So let's not get too excited.
Yeah, no, it's madly. It's crazy how things have turned out. And, it's a bit weird how, things have turned out, especially when you look at Chelsea having all their problems and then Newcastle coming up to take their place. Because I think next season they are going to be a bigger force, Newcastle.
Yeah, listen, 100% they're going to be like, they're going to be, but at the end of it, Daniel, they're still going to want some sort of reward back for it. I'm going to put all that money in without getting something back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They're not going to put 1.5 billion in there and just go, I don't want that back. So, they're business people, so they're a little bit different to Abramovich. So, but ultimately, look, Manchester City have never won anything in my lifetime until that money come in. They've not won anything.
No.
Now all of a sudden, look at them. They've been backed. They're winning things left, right, and centre. So, Newcastle will do the same. Daniel, it's as simple as that. Simple as that.
Yeah, definitely. Listen, guys, we have reached the end of the show. Lee, first and foremost, I want to thank you for coming on and giving up your time as always.
No worries at all. Anything for you, Daniel. You know that.
Listen, guys, do hit that subscribe button on your way out. Do hit that like button. Listen, I'll be back on Monday with the review, so all stay tuned for that. Lee, it's been a pleasure as always, and hopefully I might bump into you at the game tomorrow.
Okay, you're going, right? Yeah, I might hopefully see you there.
Yeah, I'm going. Do you know what? I was actually a bit earlier. I was like, I'm looking forward to it, and then I was, I've had so many things going on this week. I'm like, I need that football just to go and release.
Take your mind off things and that, get in there, hour and a half, cheering on the Gunners, can't beat it.
Exactly. Well, listen, guys, that is it. Hopefully, Arsenal will win. Hopefully, we can come away from Vicarage Road with the 3 points. Listen, all take care. Enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and come on, you Gunners.